All right. That's the fade in. So listen, before we get started, you brought up an actually good subject that I've actually probably never talked about before, but the whistling of a nose.
My nose was whistling.
No. I'm glad you said that because I couldn't tell you how many times I'll be sitting there by myself and I'll be breathing and I'll hear this little whistle. I'll be like, and it's like, yeah, I'm serious. And so you try to blow your nose, and that doesn't fix it. You try to breathe through one side and block it. It seems like if you get the nose whistle going on, it's actually, you can look it up on the internet. It's a big thing when your nose actually, and you're breathing. And
So that's what you did after you realized your nose was whistling? You Googled it?
I Googled nose whistling, and I'm not kidding you. You can Google it in case, I'm sure there's about a couple thousand of them that are listening that are saying, you know what, my damn nose whistles also. I don't know what it is. Is it when you have, I don't know, your sinuses are wrong or there's something in your nose, whatever the case is.
Barometric pressure.
But it's actually annoying because you're like, are people hearing that? You know, it almost sounds like a flute. It's like a high-pitched flute. All right. Anyways, trucking. Talk CDL. So we do have some things to talk about today. Our main topic today is going to be when truckers attack truckers. Isn't that something?
That's just something.
And we're going to get into that. But first, I got a couple things. I've got an announcement to make. It's kind of it's like a teaser because yesterday, I'll give you the first part of it. Yesterday, CDL Life and I think Trucker News and a couple other trucking news places, they announced that the vaccination mandate was going to be in effect, that truckers were not going to be exempt from it. Mm-hmm. And I got a letter sent to me by a trucking company a couple hours ago. Here, and I should send it to you, but I'll just read it. I'm going to read this to you. This just came in. It says, "Dear ATA members," which is the American Trucking Associations. Mm-hmm. It says, "We have outstanding news to share this morning regarding the vaccine mandate emergency, temporary standard ETS that OSHA released yesterday." It says, "We have received indications that the senior Department of Labor officials that the exemption for employees who exclusively work," here's the key word, "outdoors or remotely," which is a trucker, "and have minimal contact with others indoor, does exempt solo truck drivers." So it's saying, now listen to this. It says, from the mandate. Furthermore, Labor Secretary Marty Walsh is on record saying so. ATA will continue to advocate for the broader workforce as well. Now, it says, while we complete our due diligence, can't read right now because anyways, it says, while we are trying to complete our due diligence to confirm this fact through official channels, this appears to be a major victory for ATA and our membership. This is a result of our pressure campaign during the rulemaking process and all your help as ATA drafted our comments and strategy. We continue to believe that OSHA is using an extraordinary authority unwisely and applying it across all industries at an arbitrary threshold of 100 employees in a way that fails to take into account the actual risks. ATA will continue to consider potential legal action to protect all segments of our workers from this misguided mandate. We will be back in touch with you shortly regarding official confirmation from the Department of Labor and updated toolkit to use for your workforce and our next steps. So here's what it comes down to. It's confusion because maybe 24 hours ago, everybody's announcing that trucking is not going to be exempt. You are going to have to get the vaccine. And then today, this outstanding letter comes from the ATA saying, nope, you're not going to have to because of the rules. And this, what was Marty Walsh? He worked in Congress. What was his title?
Secretary of Labor, isn't he?
Secretary of Labor, saying that or confirming all this. So I think the vote is still out. It remains to be seen. Who knows? Do you have something over there?
Well, what I have is kind of what everybody was posting about, stating that the drivers are not exempt from it unless they are strictly outdoors, have minimal contact. But they're saying the trucking industry didn't have an exempt on that. But they said that something like 2,500 or 2,600 fall into that category, but not enough. The only thing that I'd seen that you didn't mention is that the vaccine is now needed by January 4th versus December 8th, what it was originally. But I did see that it was stating that they're going to be doing some more investigating and more information, weekly testing, and something like OSHA's requiring the companies that have fully vaccinated drivers to keep copies of their vaccines and make notes of it. I mean, it's kind of getting a little asinine on how much they want to do for this particular thing. It'd be one thing if it stopped it completely, where you would not get any effect whatsoever. I could see them wanting to push this, but the fact that it doesn't stop COVID, period, that it just lessens it, I don't understand. You know, we're seeing the decline in everything now as it is just because of the fact that it's starting to wear itself down. Everybody's building immunities.
Yeah, I just, in my opinion, I'm just going to give you my opinion. I don't care if you're for the vaccination or you're for, being able to
whether you
refuse it.
are or not, it doesn't matter to us. We don't care.
Right. Your opinion is your opinion. I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting news for those that feel that some people have the right to say, I want to be able to dictate what goes in my body. Okay, that is just the pure fact. So at the same time, to me, what I believe I have the right to choose whatever I want to do. Not the right to, I don't think I have the right, or I don't think I should have a gun to put at my head and telling me I have to do this or do that. So again, opinions fly. There's a good percent of truckers even out there that feel that you got to get vaccinated, and there's a big percent of them that think I'll quit. In fact, there's an article I read that said if they do this, they're expecting upwards of 37% of today's trucker to say, "Screw you, I'm out of trucking. I'm just not going to drive anymore," because we see doctors and nurses that are refusing the vaccine. So truckers, they're people too. They don't want to be pushed around. They want to keep their rights. And, that's really what our country was founded on, rights, because in other countries where most of us came from, we had no rights. So I guess we'll see how it plays out. I'm really just not into, I don't want to start a big controversy and tell you what I think. I just think that it's heating up. And like you said, it's pushed back it was December 15th?
It was, I think, December 8th originally. And now they pushed it to January 4th that everybody has to be vaccinated.
It's going to be interesting if something doesn't happen to halt the deadline where companies, because the fine, they said, is like $14,000 per person. So it's going to be interesting to see what January 5th looks like, or it's January 6th or 7th.
Yeah, give them that week to get all the data together. Right.
If they don't stop this, to see these big fines or to see the big landslide of people quitting, or maybe everybody just says screw it and gets the vaccination. I don't know. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you good with that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about before we go on to our next segment, we mention one of our sponsors. Today's podcast is brought to you by National Carriers. National Carriers is located in Irving, Texas, and they are looking for lease purchase and company drivers, students, solos, teams, regional runs, all that stuff. They have great benefits. the best equipment. Pick up the phone today and call them at 888-311-7076. That's 888-311-7076. Tell them Talk CDL sent you over. Yeah, give our sponsors a call. Ruthann, so here's what we got next. This is kind of crazy stories. I'm just looking around and I find this stuff.
I'm still stuck on the fact that you Googled nose whistling.
Yeah, well, what was that show? What was that show called? That was it? The dude from what's that guy's name that played on that '70s show? The main guy, the tall kid. What was his name? He was like really popular at one time.
Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, and he
wasn't the main guy on it, but yeah, he was one of them.
Okay, whatever he was. Didn't he have a show? Was he the guy that? Oh no, it wasn't his show. Somebody had a show.
No, he did have. Ashton Kutcher had a show with, I think it was MTV. It was Punk'd.
Oh yeah,
is that what you're thinking?
No, but I'm not thinking of Punk. But
okay,
Punk, I thought Punk was pretty cool. But no, this dude had a show on where they would Google like two names, and then whatever came up, they would show the videos. You know what I mean? It was.
Oh, you're talking about.
It did have a weird name. It may even still be on.
It's not impossible, but it's something
like that. But anyways,
man, now you got me thinking
about it. If you think about it, you can announce it. Anyways, so that's all. That's all I did. And check this out. I may read this to you. I don't even know how to start this segment. Just some of these drivers. I'm going to point out a couple things. We're going to be talking about truckers attacking truckers later. Now we're going to talk about truckers that got a couple DUIs this week in the news. But what I'd like to tell everybody out there, I believe in the brotherhood of trucking. I believe if you can stop to help your brother, if he's broke down, okay, meeting each other at truck stops, riding together, I believe the community actually is getting stronger. Although some of your negative guys out there will say, no, it's bullshit. There's no more brotherhood. Well, I see it. I do see it. But what the drivers that I'm about to talk about, I don't consider them part of the brotherhood of trucking. If you're going to be honestly attacking other truck drivers at truck stops or whatever the case is, at what we're going to read in a little while, that's just not the brotherhood of trucking. If you're going to be the opposite of what the brotherhood is about. The brotherhood is about loving your brother, taking care of each other, being out there trucking. So with that being said, I would just tell everybody, you still got to watch your back when you're out there. And we're going to get into that here in a second. But let's talk about these guys first. Listen to this. It says, after officers ruled out medical issues, they arrested William Wright for DUI. Wright was seen on video driving a semi-truck hauling 9,000 gallons of gasoline while intoxicated. It says police suspect opioids. Wright drove into an oncoming lane. They were going slow, but he drove into this oncoming lane. I actually watched it. And he ran right into an SUV head-on and, pretty much destroyed the SUV. Well, when the cops came, witnesses actually said that the guy was actually sitting in his truck nodding off. It looked like he was falling asleep. And that's why I started off by saying after they ruled out medical, because they wanted to make sure this guy wasn't having a medical issue because,
right.
Sometimes a truck driver does wreck, over medical issues.
Right, sugars or something like that they didn't know about. Most of the time it's unknown medical conditions that are brought aware of them.
Exactly, heart, or like you said, maybe a little sugar coma, diabetic coma. Okay, so anyways, here's a guy nodding off at the wheel, all stoned. I don't know what actual opioid he was on, but if it was strong enough to make him, if you've seen the video, you'd be like, wow, look at that guy. But anyways, almost 80,000 pounds. You're like this bomb going down the road.
Yeah.
It's just gasoline now. And you go into the head-on, and just imagine if it would have been a faster lane. They didn't look like they were moving but 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. If it was more on a maybe 45 or 55 or even an interstate, I understand that.
So what do you think about that article?
I think he should be tarred and feathered.
So,
but I do think it's horrible. I think that I don't know. I just don't think drivers should. I mean, I understand certain pain medications are opioids. I understand that. I think that maybe if you have to take them at night when you know you're going to be sleeping. But you cannot. I don't think you can. I really don't think you should drive and.
You can't be on any
opioids to begin with as a driver. So how he got them, and yes, they do make you tired. Because when I had a tooth extracted and stuff, I know I've had to be on them. They do make you tired. They want to make you sleep. So for him to just take them, if someone's taken them for a long time, though, I don't think they have the same effect because their body is like adapting to them.
Well, maybe he just started because they said he was really loopy.
Yeah.
But,
or he took way too many.
I was actually talking to a truck driver the other day, and we got into the conversation of opioids. Mm. It's ironic that this is being reported right now. And he told me that he is on, I think it was tramadol. It was a mild one, either tramadol or whatever the next level up is. But anyways, I said to him, I said, dude, you can't be on narcotics. He goes, no, it's doctor prescribed. I go, well, all opioids are doctor prescribed unless you're getting them off the street. But you cannot be on a narcotic and drive a tractor trailer. It's literally, there's absolutely zero tolerance for that at all. I don't even think there's an exemption.
I don't think
for anybody that's like needing it for pain medicine. I don't think at all you're allowed to have any kind of a narcotic in your body at all.
No, and when I said about taking them, and sometimes if you go for a procedure, most of the time you still have a couple of days. You're able to go and function and do things like when I had my tooth pulled. You could still take. They only give you like a 7-day or something like that. Like there's only so many days they give it to you, so you can return to work, but you still have that for pain. Those drivers, I don't think they're realizing they still need to report that they're on this or just not take it. And if they are a truck driver that has it, they should, I'm going to go and have this procedure done. The doctors, when they're getting to prescribe it, the driver can say, I'm a truck driver. I can't have that type of medication. And they will give something different, like, prescription strength ibuprofen and something else. There's other medications that they can have. You just have to let your doctor know, I'm a professional truck driver. I cannot have something like that to go, I don't know, what is it, like a stage, like levels they say that they are. These doctors know that. They don't need to question that type of how do I do it type of thing.
Yes, I agree with you. Do you remember when we first met way back in the day?
Yeah.
And I was driving check trailer.
Yeah.
And I had like a crazy toothache, speaking of, and you're like, here, take one of these. And it was like you had this Tylenol 3 or whatever that had been prescribed to you. Mm-hmm. And I remember specifically, I was driving for Great Coastal, and I was coming across 68 there in West Virginia. And I had just gone into Maryland. And I remember, I had taken these while I was driving, and all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, this is weird the way I feel. And I pulled into that truck stop and I said, hey, what's that damn pill you gave me? And you're like, it's Tylenol 3. I'm like, well, I feel really weird. And that's when you told me, yeah, it's a narcotic. I'm like, well, I'm driving a tractor trailer. Hello, what are you doing to me here? And so I pulled into that truck stop there on 68, Interstate 68. And I'll never forget, it's at the top of a hill, and I called dispatch and I said, hey, I am really sick. I am going to bed, and when I get up, I'll finish this load, so you better tell them it's going to be late. I literally called them and said that, and I went to bed, and I didn't wake up till the next day. And literally, I was like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. I could have got into an accident, or I could have, failed the damn drug screen. It could have been all over for me. Luckily, as soon as I realized, I was just a dumb kid. You know what I mean? I did not know.
Yeah, I didn't. I wouldn't have done it either.
Because when you said Tylenol 3 back then, I remember thinking, oh, it just must be a bigger dose of Tylenol. That's all I thought it was. And here it's Tylenol with a twist, or a little spunk, whatever you want to call it.
Spunk.
Yeah. But anyways, hey, listen, real quick. One more. I just wanted to whip out so we'll call him driver of the week, and we'll say this next guy ties with him. It says White Plains, New York on November 4th. That was yesterday. At approximately 8:10 a.m. Now listen, this is in the morning. State police responded to a report of a rollover crash on Interstate 287, which is the big half circle, goes around Jersey and New York. It says, in the city of White Plains, a preliminary investigation revealed a 2020 Peterbilt tractor trailer was traveling westbound near exit 8 when it crossed all 3 westbound lanes and struck the center guardrail. It says the tractor trailer then overturned and dumped a load of rock debris all over the roadway, blocking all westbound lanes and the left and center eastbound lanes. So he was blocking like the entire interstate. It says the driver, Billy Robinson, 55, of Inwood, New York, was uninjured and was found to be intoxicated. He was taken into custody, transported, and processed at SP Tarrytown, where his blood alcohol content was determined to be 0.24, which is like double the legal limit. Actually, more than double and a half. It says Robinson was charged with aggravated driving while intoxicated, an unclassified misdemeanor. He was turned over to a sober third party and released. And it says on appearance, tickets returnable to the city of White Plains Court, November 19th. So I don't know what to say to these guys. I mean, listen, if you're now, I've said this before. We've talked about DUIs like a year or two ago. And my advice is the same. Guys, if you have a drinking problem and you have a Class A CDL, I'm going to tell you this right now. Because, Ruth Ann, to me, the only guy that would get in a tractor trailer and drive it drunk is somebody that can't stay away from alcohol. Mm-hmm. Would you not agree? I mean,
I would agree.
Yeah, you got to, anybody with the right sense in their brain would be like, whoa, if I get in there, I'm going to be, in a lot of trouble, blah, blah, blah.
Well, to me, the same kind of category, like, you're being drunk and driving a tractor trailer it's just like playing Russian roulette, right? Would you feel comfortable with the teacher that teaches your children having, I don't know, an anger issue, a felony for battery, or a sexual crime against him? You wouldn't. Now, I know drinking is not the same as a sexual crime, but it's still a life-threatening thing when you're driving down the road and you're chancing everybody's life around you. You have to look at it as the same perspective. Would I appreciate someone treating my family this way? Because that's what you're doing, is you're treating everybody else's family like you could care less whether or not they are alive or not alive, what kind of mourning they're going to do, any of that.
Yeah, when you jump in a truck, you have no courtesy for everybody around you. You literally don't. So here's my advice. I just want to give out a little advice. Guys, call me if you have to, or call and get some help. But I'm going to tell you a little secret. I couldn't tell you. Every year we report on a trucker that gets at least 50 to 75 years in prison because he was wasted and he wipes out a bunch of people. We've had stories on every year, probably since we've been here 5 years or something like that, maybe 6 years. And at least once a year, we report on some crazy story of some dumbass. And I'm going to call you a dumbass because you're a dumbass if you get in a vehicle wasted that much. Because you got to, in life, you come to choices. In your life, in everybody's life, you come to choices and you got to say to yourself, what's more important, the choice in my right hand or the choice in my left hand? And for you to get in a tractor trailer and go, well, I got to pay my bills and I gotta make sure I'm feeding my family. Well, if you say that's more important, okay, than getting in a tractor trailer, okay, or than not getting in a tractor trailer wasted, well, then you're not understanding really how to make the right choice. So here's my advice. Get help. You would be better off losing your job right now and getting fired because you refuse to go to work. And you'd be better off losing your house. This is the truth. You'd be better off losing your house and everything. Now, if your wife is the right kind of person, she'll stand behind you on this decision. You guys are going to have to go through a tough time. But let me tell you something. What's going to be tougher? If I have to report that you just got 50 plus years in prison because you wiped out a family and you were DUI, I promise you, your family ain't going to get fed by you anymore because making license plates is about $10 a week or $20 a week is all the state pays you. It's not much.
Not only that, but they won't see you anymore. You just lost that relationship with your family.
That's right. If you go away for 50 years, I promise you, somebody else is going to be calling your kids daddy, and so is your wife going to be calling somebody else daddy. And I'm guaranteeing it. That's not a joke.
No.
Well, maybe it's a little joke, but it's the truth.
It's a truth one.
So, like I said, you would be better right now losing everything and getting your ass help and getting off the shit before you lose it all and have to marry some guy named Bubba someday. Because at 50 years, I promise you, that's going to be your only damn relationship. And you are going to regret it. I can pull these names out, Ruth Ann. That dude, what was his name? Oh, man, I knew it so well. The guy that did like the margarita shots.
I don't remember what his name is.
But
right
he
now.
went, in fact, he actually caused a trucking company to close down over it. What were they called? Green Tree up there in Minnesota. Literally, you can look this stuff up. We're not making it up. You guys will be so much laying there in a cell going, why didn't I just give up everything? Because you're going to give it up anyways. But now you don't get to see anybody. So that's the worst choice. That's my advice, and I'm going to stick to it. Ruth Ann, do you have anything else on this subject?
Just a short saying. If you feel as though you don't have an issue, but for some reason you're drinking while you're in that tractor, there is an issue. So they say now driving buzz is just as bad as driving drunk.
Yeah.
So you have to think about the fact that if you're sitting in your tractor bored or whatever you want to say, I'm bored, so I'm just going to have a beer. That's still not good because you don't know what the circumstances are going to have. Someone can see you with that beer in your tractor and the company will fire you. And then you have it on your DAC that you had alcohol in the cab.
And you might feel safe because you got away with it a couple times. Most of these guys that get into an accident, Ruth Ann, DUI, they've driven DUI before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just kind of get complacent and think I know how to do this. I can handle it. I can handle my booze.
Right.
Oh, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Speedy Gonzales. Remember the drunk mouse? But no, seriously, it's true. It's true. You guys think you can handle this, and that's when somebody pulls out in front of you or something stupid. Maybe it's not even your fault, but because you're the guy DUI and there's dead people around, you're the guy going to prison. Mm-hmm. So maybe you think you can handle it, but I'm telling you, even a sober guy gets into an accident every now and then. So my prayer and hope for every one of you guys that are hooked on something is to stop. Right now, if you're driving down the road, stop. Call your dispatcher and just tell them you quit. Abandon the truck. I would rather you abandon your truck with a load on it right now than continuing one more quarter mile drunk, because you just don't know. You're going to cost that company a lot. You're going to cost your family a lot. And in the end, you're just some loser in a pen for the rest of your life. And that's just the truth, because once you get to that point, okay, and I hate to call you a loser, but once you get to the point where you're in prison for a long time because of it, that pretty much makes you a loser because you lost everything. Ruth Ann, time to move on. Moving on. How about we talk about our next sponsor?
Okay.
Today's podcast. I almost said prodcast.
I thought you actually did say it.
Did I say prod? All right. Today's podcast is brought to you by Carter Lumber. Now, Ruth Ann, Carter Lumber is looking for Class A and Class B drivers. They have 166 locations all across, actually from the Mississippi East. They want you to call them today. They want to put you in a truck, and they want to get you home every day, give you great benefits and great pay. They're actually not doing it by phone right now. They would like you to go to carterlumber.com/talkcdl. That's carterlumber.com/TALKCDL. Apply there. Let them know Talk CDL sent you. And thank you very much for, again, checking out our sponsors. Ruth Ann, you ready to move on?
I am.
Cool. All right.
I want to say something real quick.
Say it.
Give you time to moisten your throat a little since you've been talking so much.
I already drank that hot cocoa.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to give a shout out to the fellow truckers out there. Studies show how carriers step up in crisis situations. So they said when a natural disaster strikes and authorities declare an emergency, usually some of the first men and women to brave the environment are commercial freight haulers driving trucks. But faced with occupational hazards and an already demanding job, do carriers sometimes avoid the worst of it? A new survey conducted by Convoy's Freight Market Outlook, which routinely surveys the supply and demand forces shaping trucking, and asked approximately 160 owner-ops and small to mid-sized fleets from across the U.S. how they respond to different weather events.
That, what's funny is when you were saying that, you know what I was thinking about? the FEMA stuff where, because we're a part of a lot of hurricanes down here, and I couldn't tell you how many times when there's power out. Matter of fact, the worst hurricane that we know in our time is Katrina, and they said there was just the smell of dead bodies. There was the smell of dead, animals. It was, when the water was receding, it was just you almost had to throw up half the time. This is what a couple drivers told me, and they didn't stop going there. You know what I mean? They were there helping, making sure people were getting water, making sure people were getting food, and they were bringing it, and they were going back, and they were working around the clock. So, yeah, absolutely, truck drivers. And then not to mention the COVID, like you said. I mean, honestly, when America was afraid, truckers were telling me, Troy, there's absolutely nobody on the highway except us. First off, they were loving that, obviously, because there wasn't a bunch of goofy four-wheelers getting in their way. But the bottom line is, though, that showed you who really was out there in the front lines. I mean, because if everybody was doing their part, the highways would have still had a lot of people on it. But no, it didn't. It had nothing but truckers. 90% of everybody on the road during COVID last year was truckers. The lockdown, it was all truckers. So hats off. Great article or whatever you just read.
Well, I just want to say one more paragraph.
Go ahead.
It says, communities in need depend on the movement of goods. People are, I can't pronounce that word right now, of the responsibility, particularly frontline responsibility that the drivers bear. Over the past year, it's become very apparent the degree to which we depend on people putting their own lives at risk within the trucking industry. So it just basically said how much they appreciate truck drivers and the companies that want to still move goods, even though we have hurricanes, winter storms, wildfires, and all those types of circumstances going on, that drivers will still keep moving and getting things done. Thank you, drivers.
Thank you, drivers. All right, on to our main subject, Ruth Ann. When truckers attack truckers. This little story is the opposite, Ruth Ann, of the Brotherhood of Trucking. This involves a subject not talked about often enough, but is as real as the stories we're about to read. It says it involves the attacks on truckers. Unfortunately, it involves other truckers attacking truckers. And, we kind of gave a little hint to that in the beginning of the show, that, what we were going to be talking about and the Brotherhood of Trucking. And I do believe in the Brotherhood of Trucking, Ruth Ann, but this stuff here, in fact, let me just read this to you. This is a little story that I dug up. Actually, I got a couple of them. It says, in December of 2020, 55-year-old truck driver Dennis Brown, a truck driver, and this was just a recent article because they're now settling or something in court. It says, Dennis Brown, a truck driver of 37 years, was hauling medical supplies to Indiana when he stopped to fuel up at the Pilot truck stop in London, Ohio. Brown says it was raining and visibility was poor, so he ended up pulling into the exit of the truck stop, and instead of the entrance. And that's when the crap hit the fan. Seriously. You got something?
No, I was just going to
make a joke out of the crap hitting the fan?
I was.
You can.
No, I was just
got a crappy joke or what?
No, my jokes are cool.
Oh, okay.
No, I was just thinking of the hippo.
The hippo. Oh my gosh, that hippo over at Nature's Park.
Yeah.
If you guys have never seen a hippo poop, it is.
Google it.
It is actually, it's actually on Google too, but we've seen it in person, and you have to get back because its tail spins like a fan and it gets up to a wall and it sprays and just stuff is flying. I've never seen anything like it in my life. But anyways, that has nothing to do with this article. Apparently it says the driver was never identified, the aggressor. It says the unidentified driver coming out of the truck stop, he got angry real fast and started making, I guess, gestures to Brown. He's all pissed off, blowing his horn like, hey, you're going the wrong way, asshole, blah, 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 flip, whatever the case is, right? Maybe he was in a bad mood, who knows? It says they both got out of the truck and had words. The words turned into much, much more, where the unidentified trucker retrieved a sword from his truck. An actual sword. Who the hell carries a sword? That guy does.
Hey.
That's why I started out saying, you know what? Not every trucker is part of the Brotherhood. You got to be careful. It says he swung it, and according to Brown, it was at his throat. And Brown blocked it with his hand, and I seen the pictures, caused a big gash that required stitches. He was in the hospital. It says Brown then wrestled the sword away from the alleged aggressor, at which time the offending driver jumped in his semi and took off. Since then, the unidentified driver has been charged with aggravated assault. So they caught up to him, but just imagine that in a blink of an eye, boom! It's raining out real bad. The guy goes to pull in. He pulls in the exit instead of the entrance. Another trucker's trying to come out, and he just flips out. And next thing you know, you blink your eye and you're in a fight, just like that. That's dangerous.
It is dangerous. I actually, the other day on our way back with Rebecca, I pulled into the Flying J there outside of 75.
Right.
And I went in, instead of going in the section with the cars, I went in the area for the tractors, because when you look down further, the next entrance is right next to the, it actually merges with the lane that goes onto the interstate. So it didn't dawn on me to go into that entrance, because I knew that was how you got onto the interstate, and it was just one lane that goes into the Flying J, out of the Flying J, and onto the ramp.
Right.
So, when I looked at it, I accidentally went into where the truck's going. I'm like, and then I started cursing myself, because it's like, I know better than this, but here, didn't realize it when I was pulling in, and I had to go all the way around the circle and come back out. And,
wow.
Yeah, because there's no other way to get out of there. They should make a lane just for the cars that stupidly get into that section.
I'm glad no trucker pulled a sword out on you.
So am I. I would have had to pull out my 38.
That's right. You got a bigger sword with 6 friends in the barrel. So check this out. Here's another article, and this was actually this week. Ironically, CDL Life had an article that says truck driver arrested for fatally stabbing fellow driver at California distribution center. So it says a truck driver has been arrested in connection with the Wednesday night stabbing of another truck driver in Chino, California. Police were called to a scene at Chino Distribution Center around 11 p.m. on Wednesday. On arrival, they discovered a 61-year-old truck driver from Rancho Cucamonga with multiple stab wounds to his torso. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. His identity has not yet been released. It says on Thursday, 47-year-old Fontana-based truck driver Miguel Viveros was arrested on suspicion of murder. Police say they found the knife believed to have been used in the stabbing in the possession of Viveros. Viveros is being held without bond. According to CBSLA, investigators discovered that both truck drivers had dropped off deliveries at the distribution center and became involved in an argument prior to the attack. The incident remains under investigation. Anybody with any information, please call 909-334-3172 to the Chino Police. That's 909-334-3172. Ruth Ann, what are your thoughts on this? That's why I said, you're away from home. Maybe you could be 2,000 to 3,000 miles away from your home. And sometimes your pride can get in the way and you don't want to back down. Mm-hmm. I actually watched a video. It's interesting. I just want to read this little thing here. I was watching this video this guy Daniel McCarthy has, right? And, I really watched this video up close. And here's what it says. It says, another story takes us to a video in Winnipeg or below Winnipeg at a truck stop. It looks like Daniel McCarthy was moving slowly through the truck stop parking lot and was coming up on a driver that was moving real slow. I kept zooming in, and he was actually still moving. See, what happened was Daniel, as he approached the truck, the guy turned left, and he was going to go into the fuel island, right? So Daniel, he's doing a video. Daniel's doing the video because he's got his dash cam going. Mm-hmm. And what he does is he blows the horn at the trucker, right? And the trucker winds the window down. Now, they're both truckers. One's in another truck. Mm-hmm. The trucker turning in the fuel island opens his door up and just flips Daniel a finger and tells him he's an idiot or something. So Daniel starts laughing, and Daniel even writes on his YouTube channel, write in the comments what you think, I'm going to stay neutral, blah, blah, blah. Right? Well, so Daniel, knowing the guy's aggravated, blows his horn again and laughs at him. So now the other trucker gets out, comes back, and he was an older guy, but he was pissed off. And he's like, you're a bitch, you're this and that. And the guy's like, why didn't you use your turn signal? Right? And he's there, because I'm in an effing truck stop, right? And blah, 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 blah. And next thing you know, the old guy's like, come on, get out of here. Come on, get out of your truck. Get out of your truck, bitch. And he's yelling at Daniel, and Daniel's laughing at the guy. And finally the guy just walks away. And Daniel asks in his YouTube channel, who do you think is wrong? And so I looked at it over and over and over. The guy was already moving. So you can't claim, if you didn't see that the guy was moving, yeah, he did kind of turn sharp when Daniel was trying to pass him. Okay. I think they were both in the wrong. Mm-hmm. Number one, you know what? Somebody beeps at you. You don't have to flip the guy the finger. Okay, number one. Number two, if somebody flips you the finger, you don't beep again.
You don't instigate it. He was instigating it more than.
See, you actually can tell that you're exactly right. That's exactly the story. So he's instigating it on.
He wanted the react.
Right. And then the third thing you don't do, you don't get out of your truck and go confront somebody, because let me tell you something.
They can have a sword.
Well, we just read that story last week. What happened in West Virginia? That guy got out in traffic, came after the trucker. They opened the door, and what did the trucker do?
Ba-boom.
Ba-boom. Shot him dead right there. Mm-hmm. And now he's up for second-degree murder. You just don't know in the blink of an eye, what is going to happen in your day. And you got to be ready for this crap, guys and gals. If something happens, flipping somebody the finger could cause them to shoot you.
Yeah.
All right? And you know what? If you're a truck driver in a truck stop, it doesn't hurt for you to use your turn signals to show somebody where you're going, just because you're not
in a parking lot. When you're in a parking lot, you still use your turn signals to get down the different aisles.
Absolutely. You're better off, guys, signaling what you're see, there's guys, I've been in truck stops a million times, and there's some guys out there that think their shit don't stink, and they're just going to whip around and do their thing and to park in the fuel lane and do this and do that. Guys, you got to start having common courtesy for each other. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you guys, you need to do this, because you just don't know what you're causing. And listen, if you want to make the brotherhood of trucking stronger, then be courteous to each other, guys. It doesn't hurt. Courtesy is cool. I really think it is. Humility is cool. Pride will get you in trouble. It'll cost you money. It'll cost you jail time. It could cost you your life.
It can cost you many, many things you're not willing to give up.
And look, when I was younger, she's smiling at me because she knows when I was younger, I would get out and I'd be ready to fight. I mean, I was in the middle of a highway on the Deer Lake Hill, remember? Mm-hmm. So, but it was just stupid stuff. I could have been shot. That night.
Even last week, you could have been.
Right. There was a guy, one time there was a driver where we were fighting for a 2 lanes going into one, and I backed out at the last second because we could have collided. And so, I don't remember what was said, but I said something on the CB. He said something back to me, blah, blah, blah. We went back and forth. Next thing you know, he stops in the middle of the road. I stop, and we're out in the middle of the road, literally at about 1 o'clock in the morning, literally facing off to each other on a highway. And you know how dangerous and stupid that is on both of our parts? Mm-hmm. It just was. Mm-hmm. It really was. Mm-hmm. So the bottom line, guys, got to control that temperature.
Don't act like Troy.
Look, that's Troy years ago. Okay, all I'm saying is this. All right, you're away from home. You blink your eye and you're not coming home, because you got enough to worry about out there, Ruth Ann. They got 4-wheelers, they got weather, DOT, fatigue, all that crap they got to worry about. They shouldn't have to worry about their brother truckers.
I agree.
Shouldn't have to worry about your brother.
I agree.
Should have each other's back.
I agree.
Not wanting to stab each other's back.
I agree.
Good. That's all I got today, Ruth Ann, for the pod.
Well, how about I say hey for JJ Keller? JJ Keller is the trucker's secretary. Give them a call, 888-601-2017. Ask them any question you want. They're going to give you an answer. Yeah, and they're going to give you the right answer. Mm-hmm. And they are literally a great sponsor here for Talk CDL. They've been with us a couple of years now, I think. Yep. JJ Keller. Yep. I like them a lot. Yeah, we do too. And they help. That's the good thing about JJ Keller. They're actually out there to help. Right. All right, Ruth Ann. Moving on. Do you have, Ruth Ann, well, actually, we should announce this. Ruth Ann now has a bunch of people writing in saying, good jokes, Ruth Ann. I like your jokes, Ruth Ann. One guy even wrote in and said something about tentacles or something, your last joke. I'm like, my gosh. But anyways, do you have a joke today? I got 2. You got 2? Yeah, I couldn't help it. I couldn't pick one or the other, so I got 2 this time. Oh, my God. All right, let's hear what you got. What vegetable is nice to everyone? What vegetable is nice to everyone? Yeah. Tell us. sweet potato.
A sweet potato. So wacko.
I know.
You're such a nerd.
But here's the thing. You could tell these jokes to your kids and your grandkids. That's the cool thing. You be the cool dad, the cool pop, the cool whatever you want to call them. So here's another one.
Let's hear it.
How many ants are needed to fill an apartment?
How many ants are needed to fill an apartment? You're over there laughing already.
Horrible.
All right. Let's hear the answer.
Tenants.
10 ants. Tenants.
The people that think these things out, you just make my day.
You're lucky there's people out there that actually love you, Ruth Ann.
All right.
All
On
right.
that note, here is your word of the day by Word Genius.
All right. Word genius. Let's hear it.
Hexeity.
Hexiety?
Hexeity.
Is that with a H-E-X or H-E-C?
This one, I'm going to tell you, I would have never thought it spelt this way, but it's H-A-E-C-C-E-I-T-Y.
Hexiety. Let's hear it. Definition.
The property of being a unique and individual thing.
Hexiety. Use it in a sentence for me.
Each vase she sculpted has a particular hexeity.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
The teacher knew each child has hexeity and can't be constrained by categories.
Nice.
I'm hexeity.
You are very hexiety. You're very unique, Ruth Ann. And you know what? You're a smarter person this week because of Word Genius.
I am.
There you have it, folks. Download Word Genius. I keep telling everybody they're not a sponsor of the show. We kind of adopted them.
I like.
Yeah. And Ruth Ann, you are now a smarter person.
I am.
That is awesome.
I'm trying to make you smart too.
You're never going to do that.
It's hard.
Ruth Ann, we're out of here.
Peace.
Peace. Praise the Lord.